How's it going, everybody? Hope you're having a good day, evening, morning, whatever time it is when you're watching this video. On today's video, I wanted to talk about something that some of you might have realized, that I haven't had my Harley Davidson on my channel in quite a long time. And on today's video, I'm going to tell you why. So I got my Harley and I'm digging things, got a $300 a month payment on a motorcycle, which is pretty stupid, I know, but there we are. I have a $300 a month payment on a Harley Davidson. And to get it all set up, got cruise control on it, which is really nice. That's the only bike I've ever had that had cruise control on it, but mine had cruise control because I made sure to order it for my bike. So I'm out there enjoying life on my Harley, having a good time. Now this is the part where some of you, if you had watched my other video, you may, about owning a Harley Davidson and being angry on my rant and stuff, you might be under the assumption that I absolutely hate Harley Davidson culture, and I probably sold it because I didn't want to be a hell yeah brother and all that other stuff, and that's just not the case. I mean, I don't hate Harley Davidson riders. I think some of them are kind of clown sorry, my language. I think some of them are kind of clown shoes and, just cosplaying and trying to act like tough guys. A lot of you Harley Davidson riders do that, and I think it's pretty silly. But that's not the reason why I sold my Harley Davidson, not because I don't want to be part of, a Harley Davidson culture. That didn't bother me, although me being an introvert, and I'm out riding my Harley and having guys always wanting to talk to me about my Harley and their Harleys and things we have in common. I'm just not that type of guy. When I go for rides, I just kind of want to be left alone. But the real reason why I sold my Harley Davidson is because those things, even just sitting there, are expensive to own. Now I know you could talk about older Harley Davidsons and picking those up for, a small price, and then, restoring one, putting some money into it. Blah blah blah, whatever. I didn't want to do that. I wanted something I didn't have to worry about breaking down all the time. I wanted a modern Harley Davidson that I could just get on, fire it up and go, and not have to worry about it leaking 12 quarts of oil on the ground everywhere. Just sitting there not doing anything. I realized that Harley Davidsons are going to get expensive, especially after I moved out of my other house that had a garage to a house that didn't have a garage. Because here we are, all of a sudden I don't have a really proper good place to keep this bike, and it's so nice, you guys. My Harley was so beautiful, so nice. I really loved that bike, the way it looked, the way it rode, everything about it. But my situation right now is I have bikes that are sitting basically in one of those Harbor Freight 10x10 tents, because that's the best that I can do for now until I do some things at my house where I can get myself a garage going. So I had to park when I moved into my new house, I had to park my Harley Davidson outside underneath this tent, and the wind would blow and it'd get snow up underneath it and get all this other crap, and just start making it look really ugly. And like I said, Harley Davidsons are expensive to own because the new ones come with alarms on them. Most of them do. It's got that little light on the dash that flashes all the time, and you can't really disconnect it unless you unplug the battery or something. But that Harley Davidson, it would sit there for 2 weeks, and the battery would go dead. So I'd have to keep the charger on it all the time. So out of fear of, having my battery go dead and having to replace it, which, by the way, I know is a big pain in the ass on those soft tails, that Milwaukee 8 soft tail street bob that I had, because Harley, put it in this really weird position where, going back to me not having a garage and being able to work on things properly, the thought of that Harley Davidson sitting out there and getting wet and getting crap all over it and stuff like that, it really kind of, it bummed me out. The thought of my bike sitting out there just getting all ugly and crap and just going to shit really didn't sit well with me. I mean, I didn't even have it all that long, and I was already getting rust on the spokes, and there was rust on some of the fasteners and the bolts and things like that, and I was really getting bummed out, because I was really trying to keep that bike super nice and keep it really cool. And anyways, when I talked in my other video about taking my Harley Davidson to the dealership and have them put my my handlebars on it and how expensive that was, they wanted $900 to do the bar swap on it. I got to thinking about how expensive it is just to own a Harley Davidson. Like, if the battery would have died on me and I didn't have anywhere to work on that bike, I would have had to, you know, have somebody come down and tow it down to the dealership and then have them replace the battery. Of course, then they'd charge me, you know, $47.2 million per hour, you know, to work on my bike. And I wasn't really comfortable with the fact that how expensive, you know, it's going to be to maintain this bike, you know, leaving it sitting outside for God knows how long, you know, years. And I wasn't in a comfortable position to keep that bike and think that I could be able to keep it nice without having to, you know, spend a bunch of money on repairs and things like that, you know, just from it sitting out in the weather. I mean, it was covered in a tent, but those tents are not weatherproof. You know, they get crap blowing up underneath the sides, and if it has rain on the top of it, it'll soak through the material and it'll start dripping all over the bikes and everything. So I told myself I needed to sell that bike and just get something that's plastic. You know, later on down the road, I can buy another Harley if I need to, maybe even another Street Bob like I had, but I needed to sell that bike and send it on its way to somebody else who's going to enjoy it while it was still worth, you know, what it was worth before the weather got to it and ruined it. So that's what I did. I put it on. Now, at first, let me kind of a little bit of a side note here. At first, I had called the dealership that I had bought it from, and I told them what I owed on it, because I think it was $12,000 on it. And I said, look, this bike is kind of getting ruined and it's going to be expensive for me to maintain this thing, so I kind of just want to sell it and get out of it and get into something that's more plastic, that's not going to require me babysitting this thing, you know, for 3 months every winter. So I thought about, I was going to sell it back to the dealership and then get a like, what is it, a Yamaha X-Max 300 scooter. I mean, it doesn't get much more plastic than that, right? So I called them and I said, this is what I owe, and could you get me an X-Max? They said, sure, we can get a hold of one of those things. We can have one shipped from another dealer up north, and we can make the trade happen and all this other stuff. Well, that kind of fell through, because the dealership, at the end of the day, what they offered me on my bike was only $9,000, and then they wanted, after all tax and title and delivery fee and prep and ship and all that stuff on that X-Max 300, the price of that was $9,000. So that would have been the finance amount on that scooter, which is like a $6,000 scooter. So that's, you know, you're going to raise the price of me 30% that I'm going to have to finance. So you basically want $9,000 for this bike, and then you want to put me $3,000 upside down on my Harley, so I'm going to be $12,000 into a $6,000 scooter. I said nope, and they would not budge. But they kept calling me back for like 2 months trying to sweeten the deal and all this stuff, and I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't care what kind of other numbers you throw at me, I'm just not doing that. So that deal kind of fell through. So I said, screw it, I'm just going to sell the bike for what I owe on it. And that's what I did. I put it on Facebook Marketplace and listed it. I think I put it on Craigslist too, because I know this, you know, 2020 Harley Davidson Street Bob with a whole bunch of stuff on it was well worth what I owed on it. So anyways, this guy down in Oregon calls me up one day and he says, yeah, how much you want for it? And I said, well, it's $12,000. It's right there. You know, and he's like, okay, well, I'll be up there, you know, on X day. And sure as shit, he showed up, you know, a day or two later, a few days, and we went over to the storage unit where I had put the motorcycle to keep it out of the weather. You know, I put it in there so it wouldn't get all screwed up, and, you know, the damage was stopped on it. And I'm not kidding you guys, my Harley, it was like brand new. Basically, I only had like 1,200 miles on it or something. So when this guy saw it, he was very impressed with the condition of the motorcycle, and he decided he wanted to buy it and didn't give me any crap over it or nothing. So we went down to the bank. He handed them a big fat wad of cash. We paid off the bank, went over to the title department, the licensing department, took care of the paperwork there, and he loaded the bike in the back of his truck. Which I'm still trying to figure out how the hell he did that, because he's got like this big giant, it was like a Ford F550 or something, and he loaded it up in the back of it like a flatbed, and he loaded it up in the back of that thing all by himself. But I don't know. He did it while I went to go grab some other things for the bike after he bought it. And anyways, so he gets a bike, loads it into the back of his truck, and you know, we shake hands, have good luck with it, see ya. So the bike is gone. So I sold my Harley Davidson because it was expensive not only to own, but the monthly payments. I had $300 a month payments on it, and then plus, you know, $40 a month for the insurance, and then just the thought of having to have somebody else work on it again and having to go through that whole nightmare of being overcharged for labor and stuff like I did the first time having my bars put on. And just the whole thought of that, and the thought of my bike getting all ugly and weathered and ruined from sitting outside, it didn't appeal to me anymore. So I went out and I got rid of it. And now I'm actually thinking about getting another Vulcan S. I'm stupid. I'm just dumb. Yeah, so I got all my bikes now are basically plastic body panels. I mean, you know, this one's metal, my Monkey's metal and everything, but they're much more easy to maintain. To me, these smaller, cheaper motorcycles are much easier to maintain, and I can own more of them. They're a lot smaller and easier to move around, easier to work on. So in my mind, I justified selling my Harley Davidson for exactly what I had into it. It was a total wash. It was like I was renting the bike for those few years, which I don't have a problem with. Yeah, of course I lost money on it because I financed it, and when you finance a motorcycle, a brand new one, you're gonna lose some money on it. You're never gonna get your money back. But I did sell it for what I had in it and what it was still worth, and I walked away from it. I don't regret selling it. I do miss the bike. I think that bike was awesome and it was gorgeous, and I love Harley Davidson motorcycles, so don't think I'm a hater, because I'm not. I don't regret getting rid of it, and I had to do what I had to do when I did it. So there you have it. I got rid of my Harley Davidson because I didn't want it to get ruined by the weather, and it was expensive to own. So there you have it. So anyways, I'm going to say thank you guys for everybody sticking around watching my video. And remember, if you aren't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit that thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for watching. Everybody ride safe, have a good day, and we will see you on the next video.